Good evening. It's Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday today. It is Wedding Wednesday, and I just want to thank you guys for joining us. Hello, whoever's tuning in. I am going to remind you again, it is Wednesday, and I want to say I just love you guys because I had people messaging me yesterday asking me what time am I going on? Why aren't you going on? It's past 9 o'clock. And yesterday was Tuesday. So I'm very happy to know that other people have their days messed up, just like I do. But it is Wednesday today, and it is Wedding Wednesday, and I'm here to keep you company, to answer your questions. I got a lot of questions this week, so that's exciting. And if you have any questions, yeah, Melissa, right? You too. If you have any questions, shout them out there. If you want to join in live, we can try doing that as well. But if you have any questions, write them down there, and I'll try my best not to miss them because a lot of times the messages go by really fast. So bear with me. It is Wedding Wednesday, and we are talking about wedding stuff, and we're not just going to talk about COVID wedding stuff. I know a lot of you have questions, and things change every week, so we will always be touching upon the COVID situation. But we do have questions that were sent to us for everyday weddings that have nothing to do with COVID. And I just want to tell you guys who are not what they call COVID brides, which I hate. Stop calling yourself a COVID bride. You are a bride. You just might have had to postpone your wedding. And if you are getting married next year, do not feel bad. Do not hesitate to book stuff, to talk about stuff. We may not be physically working and doing events, but we are still working behind the scenes. We'd love to get your questions. Do conferences with you, consultations one-on-one. We can do it on the phone. We can do it through a live chat, and all your vendors are willing to do that as well. So don't hesitate. Don't feel bad around your friends that you have your wedding next year and you still want to keep planning. You can do that. Go right ahead. So I am going to start by telling you, the first thing is there are a lot of things happening this week, and it is Passover, and it is Easter weekend, Good Friday, and it's very sad that we don't get to spend time with our families, but don't fret. Everybody's finding different ways to spend time with people, so figure out how to use Zoom, have dinner with your family on Zoom. And what you can do if your mom or your mother-in-law is not cooking for you this year, like mine usually do, because I'm going to be honest, I don't do these big meals. We go to my mom's or we go to my mother-in-law's, and I don't expect them to cook for us this year. We're not going to be getting together with them, but we are ordering food from Peter and Paul's. There are lots of restaurants doing this. You can help support a small business, and you won't have to cook. So buy Peter and Paul's catering. You can go to PNP Catering, and you can go to buypeterandpauls.com, and you can go look at their menu, and they also provide some groceries, and along with the meal that we are ordering for this weekend for Easter, we are getting wine too. You can order alcohol, wine, champagne, dessert. You can order flowers. You can order a meal for someone else. So think about things that you can do for yourself this weekend for your family members to make them smile. There are a lot of local businesses that are making cakes and cupcakes and do-it-yourself cookies. So if you're bored, got nothing to do, you're looking for something, even if you're not in Toronto, I know that there are places all around the country that are still open and offering doorstep delivery or pickup. There's so many different things that you can do for your family this weekend if you cannot be with them. So I am going to go ahead and start to attack all the questions you guys sent this week. And if you have any questions or comments, and if there's any professionals online, feel free to ask to join. Feel free to comment, respond if you have any input on these questions, because my answers might not be the same as everyone else's answers. And I will tell you, some of it is my opinion and some of it is fact. So the first question I have here comes from Vanessa Cataldo 93. It says, will guests be nervous to come to a wedding later in the year? I also had someone else ask the question, do you think people will actually attend weddings and want to be stuck in a room right away with people? So first of all, I have to say I cannot tell you what people will feel. I have spent a lot of time around other humans, and I can say that because, when I do a wedding, I I'm around 300 to 400, 500 people sometimes at a time. And I do know how crowds tend to work and how crowds tend to move and how people tend to feel when they don't have a drink in their hand, or how people tend to feel when they're in a lineup too long. So I can tell you that most likely people, I mean, you know, if tomorrow the government says this is all done, there's no more COVID, next week you can have your wedding. Well, first of all, it's not going to happen that way, because I don't think, and I hope people are not waiting till the week before their wedding to make up their mind of whether or not they're having a wedding. So it's not going to be like, hey, let's have a party next week, you can come next week. So I don't think you're going to run into that. But I do feel like, you know, people are going to be a little bit more hesitant they're not going to go out the next day into a crowd of 200, 300 people that they don't know. I think that people will slowly start to get back together with their families, have dinner with their families, you know, 5, 10, 20 people, then 50 people parties. So I think there will be a gradual trying to get used to being around people again. But I also do know that there's part of humanity that is just dying to be around people like myself. I am missing weddings. I see Carlos on here. He's a wedding planner as well. I don't know about you guys, if you're in the wedding industry or the event industry. I'm so missing being around happy people, people having food, people drinking. So I'm hoping that there will be a point where people are just dying to get out and just can't wait to come to your wedding. So I think there might be like about a month, you know, before, you know, after the last day. And I don't think it's going to work like, hey, it's done, nobody has COVID today, tomorrow we can have a party. I think it's going to, I'm assuming it's going to go to, hey, now you can, I think it's going to work backwards. So I think it's going to be, you know, you can now hang around 10 people. You can slowly start hanging around 50 people. I'm hoping that that's how the government's going to roll out, like, to tell you how many people you can gather. I'm not sure, but I highly doubt it's just going to be like, this is done, you can have a party tomorrow. So hopefully that answers your question. Are people going to, I think people are going to be nervous. I think slowly they're going to slowly start getting comfortable, but I also think that part of them is really going to be dying to have a party. So I think that when the parties start this year, I think they're going to be amazing, amazing parties, and people are going to be genuinely happy to be at your wedding. Not that they wouldn't be happy to be at your wedding, but sometimes, let's face it, people go to weddings because it's some dovidi in Italian. It's something you have to do. You know, your parents went to their wedding, so now you're gonna go to their wedding or whatever it is. I think now people are genuinely going to be happy to hug and kiss you. Now, maybe weddings will start off still having rules, not having receiving lines, or we're not gonna kiss people right away. Maybe the way weddings are gonna happen are gonna change on how we greet people in the beginning until we get used to it. But then, yes, Melissa, there will always be open bar, which is what I'm excited about. I'm sick of drinking alone, to be honest. Honestly, this COVID has really shook me. I know for me, this has really changed me, and I will never be the same. For me, I will never be comfortable in large crowds. No more big crowds for me. I don't know. I think it'll just take a little while. There's always been sicknesses. It's not like there hasn't. There's always been the flu. I know it's not the same, but you're still gonna. I think just people are just gonna be more careful about how they shake hands and how much they wash their hands and whether or not they're gonna be still picking their nose in the car, because I see people do that a lot. So hopefully people will just be more sanitary. Is that the word? I don't know about you, but I've never spoken more to my neighbors like I have now, because I have the time to now go for walks. Now we're on the opposite side of the street, but I'm saying hi to people I never used to say hi to because I would never see anybody. So I mean, it's having its benefits to what this thing has done to our world and to human beings. I agree with you. It's going to be one big party. Yes. And I'm going to say this because those of you who follow me know that I'm turning 40 this year, and I've been dying to have a huge party with all my followers and invite whoever wants to come. And it was going to be a charity event, and I wanted all, in my industry friends that I get to go to weddings with on the weekend, but I don't really get to party with them because we're not supposed to really party and drink when we're on the job. We have fun, but we don't do that. And, I've been dying to have this party, and it's going to be at the end of May, and I'm pretty sure it's not happening. But it will happen. We just postpone, not cancel. And I'll let you guys know that. And then hopefully you can all come to the party. Do you think June weddings should start postponing? This too shall pass, and God willing, it will all go back to the way we were. Yes. I wanted to go back to the way we were, but I also wanted to not go back to the way we were, in the sense of I'm hoping that people are nicer to each other, are nicer, more respectful to the earth, to what they throw on the floor, to just how they treat other people. I really hope it has brought people down to earth. And I hope that's what's changed. Okay, so I have some people who have sent questions. What do we have here? My wedding is at the end of September. I'm waiting until end of June to decide if I should postpone. Do you think this is enough time? June should be. Okay, so everybody, the question is, should we postpone? Should we postpone? For sure, postpone, don't cancel, for many reasons. The first reason is we want you to have your parties. We want you to not look back and say, oh, I just decided to do it in my basement. I never got the wedding I wanted. And then, you're always going to regret not having your big party that you dreamed of. So we want you to have your party, so make sure you postpone and don't cancel. The other reason is because if you try to cancel, you will know that it's hard. You're not really going to get deposits back from all your vendors because deposits are not refundable. So we want you to postpone. Now, how the venues have been doing it, and when I say venues, I mean most venues that I've talked to, work with, they're all doing things a little bit different, but what they're trying to do is move people slowly as the information comes out. Now, to say I want to move my wedding in August because I'm scared, when you go to your venue and say I want to move my wedding in August because I'm scared, you really have no leg to stand on, because there's no, COVID warning for August. The government hasn't made any statements about August. So if you go in and say, I want to move my event, you might have penalties as if the COVID didn't exist, because as of right now, COVID doesn't exist in August. So just keep that in mind. When you're looking at your contracts and you want to move, you're more than welcome to move. I'm just saying there might be some penalties, and you're going to be treated more like a regular situation, as if the COVID didn't exist for most venues. Now, the venues are trying to do it 1 month at a time, just so that, the whole 2020 doesn't panic and clear. We don't want that. We don't want all the parties to go away for the rest of the year. You also don't want your venues to go out of business because everybody decided to cancel. And then what if parties are available to happen in August? And they have to keep their lights on, and they have to keep things going. So we don't want everyone to panic and just move everything. Again, it is up to you. I'm just telling you that the venues will, they want to do things slowly, one month at a time. And also to keep the months that were before open for dates. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, as of right now, May is pretty much, all of May has moved and they're done. If you're in June, excuse me, if you're in June, my throat's dry, I'm not sick. If you're in June, all of my June events have postponed. I would consider moving your wedding now if you're in June, because of what the government has said about gatherings until the end of June. You won't be able to get a permit. If you're having an outdoor wedding, anything like if you're going to have a wedding at your house and you need a permit for alcohol or a special events permit, you won't be able to get it. So even if they do change the amount of people that you can hang around in June, you might not be able to get permits, and you might not be able to get a marriage license because all the government offices are closed. So we're not sure exactly what's going to happen in June, but as of right now, they have stated that most likely this will go to the end of June. So if you are in June, I do advise for you to change your date as of right now. Now it's totally up to you. You can wait. All I have to say is at least make your decision by May, because then for sure you will have penalties. Your florist has to order flowers at least a month before your wedding. So if your wedding's in June and it's May and you decide 2 weeks before your wedding, like the first week of June, your flowers are already ordered, you're going to be responsible for paying for all those flowers. Your venue has their own rules as well. Your venue wants numbers in by certain dates. And if you decide to cancel your wedding 2 weeks before your wedding, you might be responsible for paying all the plates. So the only thing I can say is call a venue, call your venue, see what your options are, call your florist, call all your vendors, and see what your penalties are, if there are any. See how close to the date you can move. Invitations, don't worry if you've sent them out. You can, in this day and age, there's ways to get a hold of everybody on your list to let them know if you're moving your dates. Or you can send out change date cards, which I've done for a few of my clients, as we do printing at the Booster Box as well. So, but for June, I would consider thinking about it. If you don't really want to move yet and you're in June, at least call your venue. And there's a lot of venues that are being really good about putting second dates on hold. You can do that at certain venues. So you might consider just having a backup date. What I do project, this is what I think. What I think is hopefully by July, beginning of July, this will start to be lifted, or it'll be lifted. The bans on gathering will be lifted. But July, I'm not saying to move your July wedding yet, but the July weddings, if this all ends by the end of June, the July weddings might be the weddings that are going to feel the numbers of responses going down, because like we said before, some of the guests might not be comfortable. For sure, your guests that are traveling from out of the country to come to your wedding here or wherever you are, if they have to travel, and you're in July, they might not be able to make it. The flight bans might not be lifted, even though the number of how many people you can stay around might be bigger. I'm assuming the flights, the ban on flying will last longer. That's what I think. What if your florist isn't answering your messages? Why wouldn't your florist be answering your messages? Well, DM me and you can see if maybe I know your florist. I can try to get a hold of them for you. But I think your florist should be responding to your messages, because we all we're not all sleeping. We still have businesses to run, even though we can't work, can't make money right now. We have to be taking care of our clients. They should be responding to text, WhatsApp, Instagram, email. So yeah, private message me. Don't cancel June weddings. I'm not sure who that is that says don't cancel June weddings. I'm not saying to cancel. I'm not saying to cancel any wedding. I'm just saying if you are in June, start to consider that even if this ends at the end in May, I'm not sure if you'll have the numbers you want for June, and if people will also be willing to spend the money to come to a wedding for June. I'm just saying that June should be thinking about it now, only because of what the government has said about, not being able to gather in big numbers till the end of June. If you're saying 12 more weeks, isolate, that brings us to the end of June. So I feel that people who have weddings that are booked should probably look at another. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If the government said, until the end of May, which is what I was hoping for, I thought it was going to be just till the end of May and that June was going to start events again. But because they said that, everyone's pretty much got to go by what they say. They didn't say it was in stone. They just said, I foresee 12 weeks of isolation. Yes, information changes daily. Don't panic. I agree. If you are in June and you're sitting on it, again, like I said, find out what your penalties would be from your vendors if you decide too close to your date in June. That's all I'm saying. If I was in June right now, would I be moving my wedding? I would be looking for other dates. And I would probably wait a couple weeks. And because by a month before your date, people usually have responded by that point. So, then you're going to have to get responses from them again when you change your date. So, if you've already sent out your invites, you're not sitting on there waiting if you should send your invites. Then you can wait a little bit longer. They're already gone, right? I know what I would say about her favorite gift. White plate. What is it, Bombayati? What is your favorite guest gift? Yes, I've said you're so right. You can tell the people who are watching me. I like knick-knack things. I know I'm weird like that, but you're always safe with a white plate. You know how many Bombayati with white that I have with white plates that I use them when people come over, or just my family when I'm feeling special. I take out those plates and I use them. Venues charge 5% more to move the date to 2021. Your thoughts? Not all venues are doing the same thing, so I can't speak for all venues, but there are venues charging more for 2021 dates. What are my thoughts? I get why they're doing that. I know it doesn't seem fair. They're doing that because prices naturally will go up for everybody in the next year. Every year, our prices go up. The costs that we have as vendors go up. So they will have to be paying for your stuff at a higher price. So I get why the price is going to go up. Also, now you've taken 2 of their dates, one from this year and one from next year. I know, again, it's not your fault, but this is why it costs more. And again, talk to your venue because not all venues do the same thing. Should your clients have booked you for September should be reaching out to you to have video chats? You can call me for a video chat anytime you want. If a client booked me for September, you're talking about me personally. If they booked me for the day of, we usually don't meet till like a week before. If they book me for longer, then we meet earlier. So you can DM me if you want to talk more about that. What month are you suggesting June weddings move to? I would suggest right now, if I was moving my date, to move to the fall or to November, December. There's really, I mean, July, August weddings, I wouldn't ask them to panic right now at all, but they are the ones questioning their dates. So I wouldn't really suggest moving to a date that other people are still questioning. I believe you're safe in the fall and in the winter. Let me go to these questions here that people were sending before. Should 2020 be a complete write-off? No, I don't think 2020 is a complete write-off. If 2020 is a complete write-off, then the whole wedding industry is going to be in trouble, event industry. I really hope it doesn't last the whole year. We live in a first world country, so I don't think that this pandemic can't be under control in a few months. So no, 2020 is not a complete write-off. I will not go there. What do you think the earliest date will be to postpone a wedding? June. Daniela Briganti asked that. I would not postpone your wedding right now to June. If that was what she was asking, I would postpone it to the fall. And also because it'd probably be hard to find dates in the summer right now. 2020 summer dates were very hard to get before. So it would probably be hard to find a date. Let's see what this is. Would it be best to just put it off to 2021? Would it be best just to put it off to 2021? If I was getting married this year and I had been planning to get married this year for a while, personally, I would just want to get married this year. So I would move it to the fall or again, November, December. But moving it to next year, you run into other penalties and costs a lot. So I would take that into consideration. So I would try to book for this year. When should August reschedule? August, you need to sit back and relax. I don't think you need to change your August date. In August, you might not have receiving lines at your wedding. You might have cocktail hour without receiving line. I don't know. That just little things might be different, but I don't think that you can't have a wedding in August. I would keep your August wedding. Again, hopefully it doesn't go that far, but we're taking things, a week at a time, really. So right now, we'll just sit, relax, and keep planning your wedding. Whatever you have left to do, keep planning it. Let's see here. Push the stag and shower too. Okay, so I've had a few people say they haven't moved their wedding yet, but they had to move their shower and their stag. There is nothing wrong with having a shower or a stag the week before your wedding. I know it sounds nuts, but really it's doable. It's the same thing. You've already, especially if you postponed your shower or your stag, you've already planned most of it. So, and there's nothing that you need to be doing the Friday to the Sunday before your wedding that says you can't have an event on those days. So there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Postpone from June to August. Thoughts? I still think you're okay with your August wedding. I can't put that in stone. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would just not panic. And you really don't want to be panicking and stressed for months thinking about your August wedding. Now, I know you need to send out invites. Usually you send them May, June. I would wait till June to send them. That's one thing I would say. If you haven't printed your invites and you're getting married in August, maybe speak to your invitation person and see how long you can hold off before you print them. Only for your comfort. You don't want to have to reprint. But I think it'll be fine for August. And a lot of people are sending out invites now for June, July, and putting in the invite an extra insert that says this date might change. Actually, not for July, August. For May and June, they've done that. So let's see here. Hi. No receiving lines. Yeah, what's wrong with no receiving line? It's called the cocktail hour. You just mingle with people. I'm also getting married in June and I'm looking to reschedule, but my colors that in the summer colors, I am worried about what a blush dress and light gray suits will look like in the fall. Okay, so that's a good question. First of all, there was a time, once upon a time, when light colors were for summer and dark colors were for winter, and there was no black in the summer, God forbid. It's really not like that anymore. You can do any colors you want throughout the year. You know, there's some exceptions, but blush is always in and gray is always in. So you can move that to the fall, and what you could do is add a few darker colors to your flowers. Maybe add a burgundy to your flowers, or a darker green leaf as opposed to a lighter green leaf. Talk to your florist about that. The other thing you need to know, if you're moving your wedding from a spring wedding to a fall or winter wedding, the flowers that are available might not be the same, because different flowers grow in different seasons and are available in different seasons, and the cost of flowers change too. Either they won't be able to get the same flowers or the price will change. So make sure you have that conversation with your florist. My biggest fear is my wedding September 19th, but if everything opens up in July, not sure if I have enough time for planning and alterations. Alterations for your dress and for your bridesmaid dresses, there'll be time. What we do when we plan things is we try to give ourselves extra time because of all the work we have. Us in the wedding industry, we already know that once this thing is a go-ahead, that we're going to have triple the amount of work, and we're just going to have to work harder within a shorter amount of time than usual. So, you know what? If someone had to sit there and sew a dress that usually takes them 3 weeks, it's because they're stopping and they're doing other things. They can get it done if they really need to get it done. So I wouldn't worry about that. Let's see here. I have the same wedding day and I'm in the same boat. Keep planning your weddings as much as you can get done. Right? Like, don't stop everything just because you're panicking. What about October brides who haven't gotten their bridesmaid dresses yet? Or a veil? A veil, it all depends if you're going to get off the rack or if you have to special order it. I'm not sure what store you are from, where you bought your dress from. I'm assuming that they're still answering the phone and we're responding to emails. So contact your wedding dress store and ask them how long it takes to get a veil. Your options might be limited, unfortunately, but you know, it's not something that can't be done. Bridesmaid dresses. Again, with bridesmaid dresses, you know, I know it usually takes a long time. Everybody on this earth right now is going to have to work triple time. We already know that they're going to have to get things done faster than they usually get things done. So you have to work together. The companies providing stuff are going to have to just work a little harder, and the brides and, you know, people having events are going to have to be a little bit more understanding that your choices are going to be probably not what they would have been. You know, but I can't speak for every company. Let's see here. Add a pretty fur to lighter spring. Exactly. If things don't go back to normal to July and wedding is in August, is that enough time for alterations? When you say back to normal, do you mean that nothing's opened? I think that things will slowly start to open. You know, again, I don't think it's going to be like, okay, everything's open and then your wedding's next week. I don't think that that's how it's going to work. So, but again, contact your wherever you're going to get your alterations from. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm pushing my camera. Anxiously sitting back, but worried I won't have enough time to plan or do alteration and do stuff like a makeup trial. Listen, you can do a makeup trial 2 days before your wedding. It's just that we have to think outside the box. People are just so used to doing things the way we used to do things. We used to, you know, in the States, couples now, the trend is get engaged and get married within 3 months. If they can do it, we can do it. You can book, again, you can have a stag the week before your wedding, a shower week before the wedding. I know you think you're going to be stressed, but there's so many hours in a day. You can get it done. And if you can't get it done, not because I am one, I'm just saying, especially this year, if you don't have a day of coordinator, you don't have a planner, really consider putting that into your budget, a month of, because we can help you with these things. We can go to appointments for you if you can't make them. We can be 2 people like doing the job of 1 bride. So just consider that. Winter weddings are incredibly warm and romantic. Be creative in fashion. I got married in the winter. I got married in January. 20 centimeters of snow came down on our wedding day. You know what? People still remember my wedding day. They talk about it all the time. I had 700 people there. Yes, 700 people showed up in a winter storm at my wedding in January. So, never say never. And the pictures were gorgeous. Enough about COVID. What's the craziest thing you had to do for a bride on her wedding day? Okay, I have to answer people's questions and then I'll answer that. So let's see here. Wait, where was I? Change the date to September. Worried if a virus will clear. Miss Sonia AXO. I don't think you need to worry about September wedding at all. Someone else said, what about having a church ceremony on a Saturday and reception on Sunday? That is interesting. So what is happening this year is a lot of Saturdays are taken up, but the churches might be available. And it's interesting to think outside the box. There's nothing wrong with having your ceremony one day and having your reception the next day. Think about that. You get a whole weekend of celebrating. Now, I know when I go to weddings, I have a different outfit for the church than I do for the venue. You will have a lot more time to do your photos and you won't be rushing to go to the hall. The only problem with that is you and your bridal party will have to get ready twice. So you're going to have to be paying for hair and makeup twice. So just think about that. Or you might have a bridal party for the one day and then for the Sunday, you let them wear their own dress. I mean, that's a cool idea. I think it's different. Be very interesting. But I like, that people are thinking outside the box. A lot of people are moving to Friday weddings now, Thursday. I think it's going to be a really cool last half of this year. I do. Let's see, what color suits for winter? Bridesmaids are gold, groom doesn't want black. So Miss Alyssa was asking, the bridesmaids are gold and the groom doesn't want black. I am a big fan of dark gray. And I also like blue suits, but I do find a lot of grooms do the blue and then the ushers do gray. I'm not sure if your groom is wearing black, but I really like the dark gray and it's fine to mix gray with gold. It really is. Mixing metals is in. So I know they're not both metals, and I'm not sure if your gold is metallic. But I think you can go with gray on that. Oh, here's Miss Alyssa, you were asking that. Need a suit colors for the groomsmen. Yeah, I just answered that. So hopefully that answers your question. Can I just say how much I love Hari's eating? You go, girl. I'm trying to read those and look at this. I have pages of questions and I don't want to be a liar. I want to answer them all for you guys because you sent them in early and I love that. So let's see here. Yeah, this is much better than having my not so lovely assistant who misses all my questions. Okay. Do navy. See, navy's good too. Everyone needs to calm down. You know what? This is what I love my brides. I just gotta say, Daniela is one of my brides, and she's so calm. She's moved her date twice already, guys. I mean, if she could do it, and she's still smiling, amazing. We moved her wedding from April to May to November, and she's been so great about that. I had to postpone my wedding. Basically, we did a wedding in 8 hours. The vendors will work with you. Yes, the vendors will work with you. I have had people ask me if they can hire me just to help them move their wedding. And if you're interested in that, please private message me. We can talk about that. Let's see here. Do you think there'll be restrictions on how many people can attend the wedding? What I think, I'm not sure, but what I think would make sense is if they work backwards and they slowly start to increase the number of how many people you can have at an event. That's what I think. And that's what I was hoping for June. I'm thinking that might happen July. Let's wait and see. But I'm thinking that that's what would make sense. Yeah, I was thinking navy, wasn't sure. Yes, I like gray, but try them both. Take a piece, take the bridesmaid dress with you. Take one of the bridesmaid dresses to the store if you can ever get to the store, and see what works. Okay, thanks for answering your question. No problem. Oh, thank you, Rosie. Sorry, now you gotta wait for me to catch up here. All mixed match gold, some rose gold. My bridesmaids will be plum. What color should my groom and groomsmen be for their suits? I still like gray, I have to say. I like gray. I like a nice dark gray. Sorry for asking, try it. No problem. I did navy and gold for my son's communion. Loved it. Yeah, I did navy and gold for an event as well. I think it was one of my kids' communions. You just gotta be careful what kind of gold you're using with the navy, and then seeing how the flowers go with that. I find gray to me is more like I don't know why. I find it more to be like a neutral color. When I think of blue, I think of adding another color in, whereas gray is like just another version of black for me. So that's why I find it a little bit easier to work with. Let's see what works for you. Or if you were to postpone, where do you start? If you were to postpone, where would you start? You start with calling the venue and seeing what dates they have available. Then you get a few dates. Then you call your vendors and give them a few dates. Your first, your second, your third choice, and see where they are with those. See which vendors. I mean, chances are there might be one or two that won't be able to do your wedding, but most vendors are really good with having a team. I know for myself, I have a team. So if you're postponing a wedding and I personally can't make it to that wedding because I have another wedding that day, you have to be open to allowing me to have my team members come for your date. And photographers do that, and videographers do that. Makeup artists, hairstylists, they always have a team. So you should be pretty good with that. If there's somebody you specifically want, like I really want you, and I don't care if my photographer sends his team, or I don't care which MC DJ I get that day, then, see which vendors are most important to you and work around those people for your date. Don't just change your date and then call up all your vendors. I know that they're not your deciding factor, you are, but don't just change your date and then call up your vendors, and if they can't make it, just say, I want your money back. Because it's a very difficult situation for everyone. Please understand that most people deposits are deposits, and deposits are supposed to not be refundable. Now, in saying that, there are so many vendors who can take your deposit and say, okay, if I'm not available, my team is not available on your day, listen, I'm a makeup artist. I can do your makeup on another day. I can do your makeup for your shower. I can credit you for your kid's baptism, for, there's so many different, like say for me, for example, I also do invitations. So if you want to cancel me for your wedding day, which you're not going to, but if you can cancel me for your wedding day, I could use that towards invitations. So work with your vendors. Don't just change your date and call them up and then expect them to be available. Just try to understand that you need to have some conversation with all your vendors. Hopefully that answered the question. So where do you start? You start with your venue, of course. Go to your church and see if that works. You just start the same way you would have started before. The first thing you checked was your venue and your church, and made sure they were available, and then go down your list of vendors. And there's certain people, like if you're going to get a musician like Grenville Pinto or Claudio Santaluce, there's so many. If you want those people, obviously it has to be those people. They don't have a team and they're really important for you on your wedding, then call them, make them your third call. Let's see, you would be the first vendor. Oh. Of course. Are you worried about venues claiming bankruptcy? Okay. Am I worried about venues claiming bankruptcy? This has been a topic of discussion. So keep in mind when you call your venue and you're asking them for new dates, they're telling you that they have to charge you more. They're telling you have to get married this year, or next year we're charging you double. Or you know what? I understand it's crazy. I understand it's hard to understand. That's why you need to have a conversation with them, an honest human conversation with them as to why why there's a fee, why there's a postponement fee, why the price is going up. These are the reasons, because they need to keep their lights on. So we're all just trying to work together to not go out of business as well. And so to answer your question, it is quite possible that some of these venues, there's some venues that just did all types of renovation, and they did all these renovations with, not to sound, I don't know what this will sound like, but there's a reason why they have your deposits. They have your money, then they're using it to help, make the venue better for your wedding when it comes. And now what? They have to pay for that. So, there's a lot of situations. Again, every venue is different, but it's quite possible, if this goes past a few months, that some venues are going to be in trouble. And I know that I did a Tuesday tip of the day, and I don't know how that hit you, but if you are in the position with any of your vendors that you can, like I know with my clients, I have 3 deposits. There's the first deposit, then the second one, there's a third one. For some people, they only have 2, some vendors. So consider, if you're in this position again, consider calling up your venue and saying, hey, what can we do? I know we're supposed to get married May 30th this year, and now you're not, you're not making that money, and I'm moving it to October. I have some money put aside. Can I pay you May 30th for a 25% of that? See what works for you. And if you're willing to do that, that would really help your vendors out. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you're worried about your venue going bankrupt, these are ways to help. Wedding in October, is it realistic to have a 300 plus guest list, or should I consider cutting it down? I think it's realistic to have a 300 plus guest list. That's my answer. I think it will be fine. Again, with your venue though, keep in mind that you booked your venue and you guaranteed a number. So you don't want to be responsible for paying those people that the venue might not budge on that. The venue might say, you told me 300, you need to pay me 300. It's up to you if you're inviting 300, but you got to find a way to pay me the amount of 300. So don't just cut your guest list without talking to your venue. Why can't the shower deposit be put towards the wedding since the shower can't take place? That is something you have to speak to your venue about. See, the thing is, how the event industry works is, it's May 17th, I have a shower. May 22nd, I have a party. May 30th, I have a wedding. Okay, these are my bills that I have to pay. This is what I'm getting in May. This is how I can pay it. Now everything's being moved. Now I have no money in May. I'm not sure exactly how to explain this, but the shower is usually considered a different event than the wedding. And that date needs to be covered because technically they could have booked someone else on that day who's not moving their shower. I don't know if that makes sense. But the only thing I can say is call up your venue and have that discussion with them. I don't know if you've already had this discussion with them. Maybe they're willing to. There are some venues that are willing to the shower deposit to the wedding. I'm not sure. Can you post the live? Yes, the live will be on for 24 hours. And then I always, except for last week, I forgot. I didn't get a chance to, and it went away. Post it on YouTube. I will post it on YouTube and my Facebook. So it will be there after. Sure. Yes. Thank you. Do you think the fall will be booked up already? Is there an order of who they take first? If you're talking about venues, I know they're all different, and some venues are going month by month, and right now they're allowing May and also June to take up the fall dates. But there are some venues that are also saying, if you book, we're not giving you a Saturday. You're only allowed to book on Friday or Sunday, because our Saturdays are reserved for new clients. I know that doesn't sound fair either. So again, every venue is different. I've had different conversations. Some venues are only letting you book until March next year because they don't want to take the Saturdays of the new clients. Because what's happening is, if they're losing all of this year, basically 2 years of revenue are being 2 years of revenue are now going to be put into 1 year. Does that make sense? Let's see. Everyone is suffering with financial loss. You can't take money if it can't be held due to COVID. If the event can't be held due to COVID, you can't take money. I don't know if we're talking about deposit or if they're wanting the full amount. I agree with you. If the event's not happening, they shouldn't take the full amount. The thing with COVID, it's very iffy and it's up in the air, and it's a conversation, is that COVID is not considered an act of God. So you have to read your contract. You really have to read your contract to see. There's not really answers for that. That's why I'm always saying to people, talk to your venue, see what their point of view is on that, see if you can come up with something together. Because they're not the ones canceling and you're not the one canceling, or you are the one canceling, they're not the one canceling. It's a very hard position for everybody. So I don't know. I'm not really sure how to answer that. Are you a venue? Why are you speaking for venues? Just because people are asking about date moving, and someone was asking about moving the shower. So I'm assuming the question was for the venue. Usually when you're moving the date, you go by what the venue allows you to do first. So that's why. And like I said, I can't speak for every venue because they're all different. I've had different conversations with different venues, and their answers are all different as well. She's in the wedding and event industry. Pretty sure she knows. Okay, my wedding is supposed to be May 30th. I'm looking to postpone to September. Do you think that's good enough timeline wise? I'm so torn. I personally, again, I don't know what's gonna happen. No one ever thought this was gonna happen at all, but I'm hopeful for September. I don't see a problem with moving to September. I can't say that for sure because I'm not God. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would feel comfortable moving my wedding to the fall, if that answers your question. Okay, let's see here. My best friend's wedding is in July and it's canceled. Okay, canceled or postponed? And are you asking me a question? My best friend's wedding is in July. And I mean, listen, I've had people call me for July, August. I've spoken to other vendors in the industry, and they do have clients that have moved their summer weddings because they're just really scared. You like, technically, I don't know how to say this. For you to go to your venue and say, I'm scared, I don't want to pay you, I want my deposit back, they can turn around to you and say, that's not a reason to move something just because you're scared. And that's going to be treated like I broke up with my fiance and I want my money back. It's going to be treated the same way until it's like the airlines. Until there's a rule and the government saying July you can't have an event, then the venues can still stick to their original contract, which is you said you're having a wedding this day, you need to have a wedding this day. And you even this way. She's got the call a week ago and they told her she can have a Sunday in September. Oh, are you saying the venue canceled the wedding on her in July? My best friend's wedding is in July and it's canceled. I don't know a lot of venues that are calling up brides and canceling, unless it's now, like it's May. For May weddings, I know that they're doing that. For July, I haven't heard that. That's the first I've heard that. I'm not sure which venue it is. If you're saying, I think you're saying they canceled on her. I have a vendor for my shower that won't update my invoice with my new shower date and won't respond to my email. They're paid in full. Is there anything I can do or do? I just keep waiting. They won't update your invoice. Okay, so when you say they won't update your invoice, are you saying they're not responding to your emails at all? Are you saying that they said, no, I'm not going to update your invoice? What does that mean that they won't update your invoice? Just want you to be more clear on that. Because if you're saying they won't respond to your emails, I don't know if that means the same thing as them not changing your invoice. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if they've turned to you and said, no, I'm not changing your date. Okay. She can postpone in September, but it's just best for her to reschedule next year. But here's the catch. The DJ said if she does it next year, they will increase her price $1,000. Can they do that? The rules on what people can and cannot do are there's fine lines for a lot of things. Again, I'm not sure if you're saying the venue canceled on her. If she canceled her wedding or moves her wedding. Hold on. Okay, so we were speaking about this with venues before. Prices naturally go up every year. So if you do move your wedding, I say try to move it for later this year because the cost for people to run their businesses is going to go up next year, and some vendors will raise prices and some won't. So can they do that? I think they can do that. I mean, if they're going to make you sign a new contract, you know, you need to speak with them. I'm not sure. Okay, so I saw that Sabrina, I'm sorry, I saw you sent it. I haven't got through half these questions. She has said it many times that she cannot. Okay, Guys, you don't need to fight over that. Don't worry about it. I told you, I'm giving you my opinion. I do not own a venue. I've spoken to different venues. They all say different things. They have different rules. And I keep saying over and over again, if you have issues with any of your vendors, you need to call them and speak to them. Okay, we're just going to leave it at that. Okay, communion, confirmation, and baptisms. What do you think will happen with those since they are supposed to happen now? Okay, so my son is supposed to have his confirmation May 23rd, and my daughter is supposed to have her communion May 2nd. I'm telling you that because someone else asked me what I'm doing with my own events. The problem with that is I don't have control over that, and neither do you. The church has control over that. So all we can do is sit back and wait. My church, about a month ago when this first started, said that everything was canceled. And then I was still hopeful that in May, they might let me still do a small event. I called up my venues. I told them that I have no answers for them, that I'm just being honest. I have no answers for them, that as of right now, they don't have a communion or confirmation on those dates that I booked. They're willing to keep, my deposits and move them. They're just sitting there and waiting for me to tell them what the new dates are. And I can't until the church tells me. Now I might be put in a position where my daughter's going to have her communion on, I don't know, one Saturday, but the venue won't be available and I'll have to have it on another day. And I'm just going to, deal with that when I get to it. I'm not going to stress over it. I have sent out invites. Yes, they are close family. And I've all told them, you're taking the invite I printed because I love them and I paid for them. And I will let you know when the new date is. But this is 80%, 90% not going to be the date. And that's what I've done for my events. Because I have no control. I mean, there's no point in freaking out over something that I have no control over. So that's what I would suggest to you. I'm scared people are going to attack me for having the toilet paper bride game at my shower. Is that bad? People are going to think it's their guest gift. No, I think that's very funny. Maybe you should write a little note on the toilet paper. This is for a game. Do not steal our toilet paper. That's funny. You can listen, I'm going to tell you what I always tell everyone. You can do whatever you like at your event as long as you're happy, your bride or groom is happy. You don't piss your parents off too much. Everyone else, you're not going to satisfy everybody. Don't be rude and insulting, but you're not going to satisfy everybody. So just do what makes you happy. Okay, what does this say? I'm missing some stuff here. They won't move the date in their system and didn't respond to my follow-up emails asking them to change the date in their system since I've made and not received it. I've paid. Okay, hold on. They won't move the date in their system. Okay, Amanda, is this the venue for your shower? No, right? It's another vendor, you said? So I just want to know what they said to you. Like you called up, I don't know, I'm going to say it's your hairdresser. You called up your hairdresser and said that you want to move your date and you need a new contract. And what did they say? Yes, we'll move your date, but we're not giving you a contract, or no, we won't move your date. And no, you're not getting a new contract, and too bad you're not getting our service. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, just be more clear on that. I think it was for her shower. Hi, Anthony. How are you? Importers Gifts is on watching, guys. If you need Bombonetti, that's the place to go. And I'm pretty sure they have everything online as well. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here with all these comments. They haven't canceled May confirmation as of yet. It all depends on the church, I'll tell you right now. Every church is different. I know that my nephew, he's at St. Peter's in Woodbridge. His communion was supposed to be May 9th, and they already got their new date, and it's for October. My church said everything was canceled, and that was the end of it. So every church is different. Just like every venue is different. I don't know. I can't speak for them. We just have to wait. Some of my clients' church has postponed to fall. Wait for the church. Yes, exactly. Sorry, I'm catching up here. They said sorry, it was May, but this was back in the first week of COVID. I'm hoping they move the communions to the fall, only because I don't know if my daughter's dress is going to fit her. If they move it to next year, that's going to be a problem as well. Thank you. My hair is on point. Simply gorgeous. I follow you and I love the way you do hair. I just got to say. Okay. It was just released that the Toronto Caribana Festival is canceled due to COVID. This is August 1st to 3rd. Should I be worried for my August 8th wedding? I'm hoping that with that, okay, so Caribana is a festival that is huge. Like thousands of people go, thousands of people that you don't know go to these events. So like I said before, I'm hoping that it slowly starts to roll, like they roll in how many people you can have at an event. And something like a wedding is mainly people you know, and it's not going to be thousands of like mass amount of people. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be compared, like treated the same way as Caribana. That's thousands of people. Yes. Thank you, Rosemary. Okay, so let me see if there's more questions here I haven't gotten to. Should I consider a wedding planner to move my date? You don't need a wedding planner to move a date, but should you consider it? I do think you should consider it. And the reason is not just because you might need someone to pick up the phone and call your vendors to move your date, but a wedding planner will help you to educate you on who to call, when to call, what you need to ask, what you need to look for in your contract. And a wedding planner can also be a cushion for you to, you know, what's the word? Have to deal with your vendors. If you are not feeling comfortable dealing with your vendors, which you should feel comfortable dealing with your vendors because they're humans just like you are. But, I have people that I work with all the time. So if my clients are having a problem with one of the vendors that I work with all the time, then it's easier for me to have a conversation with them than for you to have a conversation with them. You're a client that you've just started a relationship with them and you're emotional and I'm not emotional. So I can probably have a better conversation, healthier conversation with a vendor that than you can, because I won't bring the emotions to the table. I'll bring the facts to the table. And also educate you on their point of view and where they're coming from. I'm not being a wedding planner. I'm not just for what the vendors want, and I'm not just for what the bride wants. The bride has hired me, the groom has hired me, and my main goal is to make them happy. But I want to be the happy medium in between the both of you. So I find that that's what a wedding planner will help with in this case of what's going on now. So thank you, patiently repeating your answers for everyone asking. It's okay, no worries. I just have to take a sip of my coffee because my throat's dry. Okay. I don't want this to cut us off because it cuts you off after an hour. How can I honor two different cultures for my wedding? Okay, let's see. Do you want to keep talking about COVID stuff or let me just hit a few more COVID things here. Printing invites. Wedding is in July. Currently not postponing, but might have to. Seems a waste. So for July, you'd speak to your printer for your invitations. And you'd send those out April, May. Try to wait till May to send them out. But also keep in mind that your printer needs a few weeks. Usually I need at least a few weeks depending on what kind of invites you ordered. Now the thing is too, like I have invitations sitting here that people were supposed to get married in May and now they've moved their dates to next year or to later in the year. We're waiting. What we're doing is I've done half the invite. I've designed the invite. I have the outside of the invite. I have the ribbon part that I can work on and start gluing. So I have the envelopes that the addresses are not going to change. I can start doing that. So speak to your printer. Speak to your printer and talk to them about what they can hold off on. Your maps can still be done if you're not moving your location. So they can start working on stuff and you can postpone maybe some of the printing until you're really sure. Just make sure you give them a couple weeks because, if they have to glue something together and get it printed, and if it's foil, it takes longer. If it's coming from another country, shipped in laser, it takes a little bit longer. Let's see here. We were supposed to get married August 22nd and now postponed to next year to be safe for ourselves and our family and guests. We're happy with our decision. There are so many behind the scenes things that a wedding planner. Yes. Thank you, Everlasting Moments. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, I got 28 seconds remaining. Okay, you know what I'm going to do because we have so many questions left? I am going to save this live and I'm going to come back on live in about 30 seconds. Do you want to do that? Let's do that. I will come back on live. I'm going to end this live right now and I'll see you in 30 seconds.